Good morning, Commanders. As the sun streams through the ancient glass, thank you for joining us for another battle report for Dropzone Commander by Hawk Wargames. Let's look at the armies. So here's my 1500 point Scourge army. There we go. I'm playing Warlord Craig's Resistance this morning. Let's start with my oppressors, my HQ squad. Got the Desolator there, flying. Bit of a hand grenade type area effect weapon that guy's got. Level 4 commander, so hopefully got enough cards there to manipulate the rest of the army properly. Minders act as scouts, also a little bit of anti-air cover, so I don't know if it's enough, but it's what I had with the points allowed. On to the Vanguard, the central armoured core of the army. Hunters, 3 hunters with a marauder, so skimmer tanks with a big gun on the back, close range. Supported by Reapers, anti-air tanks again. The tanks are fast, they're skimmers. Very accurate anti-air gun on those, carried into battle with marauder. Then we've got our warriors contingents. Normal warriors in their invader armored personnel carriers, and carried into battle on a marauder there. Again, very fast medium dropship with an OK gun on it. So see if that's useful today. Onto my second warriors contingent battle group. That's aged ones. I've got a little bit of elite infantry. It's not as good as some infantry in the Scourge force, but I've decided to use these guys. It's the models I've got, to be honest, so they're going to be carried into battle in Intruder A light dropships. Oh, I didn't mention Intruder B light dropship for the old minders there. So yeah, so on to the I think this is an invasion host. Let me look on my little list so we can keep the camera steady while I do that. It's an invasion host. I was correct. Ooh, commanders, I'm learning. That's quite frightening, isn't it? Slayer heavy tanks, a bit like the old hunters over here, but twice as much. 2 guns, 2 damage points, still skims and carries a payload of deadly and to be honest, very hungry razor worms. Infantry go into a building like an attack dog, eat with voracious gusto enemy infantry. Can't hold an objective themselves, but very good for clearing an area to send in the normal infantry. As I say, carried in their Slayer heavy main battle tank, and all carried into combat by the Marauder heavy dropship. Now that heavy battle group is supported by 2 Reavers gunships. That's a new thing for me, so I will be interested to see if I can use a gunship properly. A PHR player, as I am normally, not really used to using gunships. A little bit better than it used to be. Got some new units for that now, so thank you, Hawk. But I'm not really personally used to using these, so I'm looking forward to that. And then finally, Corsairs. Going to see how a air unit works. I don't use air units a lot either, so I'm looking forward to that too. So there we go. There's my 1500 point army, including an air wing. There we go. Let's see how that goes. Okay, so this is Warlord Craig's 1500 point resistance army. I'll try and do it in a French accent one day, but I don't want to insult the entirety of the fine and wonderful French people. We have for this army the HQ choice of, I think that's an Alexander in its Lift Hawk, and it's got some attached free riders. I love free riders. They're really good. No, they cause a headache for me. They're dispersed formation, so you can't do lots of damage to them. They're hard to hit. I think they've got a +3 countermeasure. Horrific. We've got a Lift Hawk here with Jacksons in, so that'll be resistance fighters, normal warriors for the resistance. Then we have a battle bus with more resistance fighters in. So these are all very normal, but there are several cunning command cards that turn them into berserk mad people. So that's the infantry contingent. Supporting them, we have a Kraken, I think that's called, hovercraft with gun trucks in. The resistance are very good at shooting. They are very accurate, so they are. and they've got these gun trucks which can project into an enemy area. Out come the trucks with the anti-air on them, and then they just fire as soon as they get out, which is horrific, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? An asset to a commander on any day, definitely. Then we've got the storm trucks, the barrage trucks, which Warlord Craig uses very well. I would put forward. He wouldn't be without those we were talking earlier, and that's what he was saying. Then we've got the armoured fist. That's a heavy choice, and we've got an armoured fist heavy choice. These would be, let me see, what would they be called? What are the normal mech meds? I think they're mech meds. They're the anti-building demolisher tanks. They're really great. I don't like them because I have to face them. But I'm a fan of the concept. I think they're really good, and they give the resistance some real clout. And then next to them are Zukov anti-air tanks, very advanced, big railgun on them. Only one shot, hits on a 2. Does double damage though, can do 4 points of damage to an air unit. My goodness, commanders, that is frightening. Knock out a medium dropship in one go. And then we have our subterranean cadre. It's the kind of elite choice. Lots of free riders. I think we may also have some ECM bikes. They've got the ability to disrupt the shooting of an enemy as well, and they would be deployed. We go all the way over here to this beautiful open throat of a big drill, so that can appear. It's a bit like a flyer. It kind of comes out of reserve on a good roll, appears behind your lines, and then things can come out of it behind. Very annoying, very tactically useful. Jump on an enemy objective, and there's very little they can do about it. So there we go, 1,500 points. What level's the commander, Warlord Craig?
He is level 4.
Level 4. Oh, we're both level 4 today, so that's going to be useful on the dice rolls each turn. Brilliant. On to setup. So yes, we're going to play one of our favourite missions this morning. We've got a focal point in the middle. There we are, on the little marker there. The star, isn't that lovely? Twinkle, twinkle, one might say. So that's a focal point to go for at the end of the battle. And we've also got objectives to add a little bit of spice. It's nice to have a bit of spice. So I'm going for it. The Stafford's Regiment Resistance are going for it as well. So they're going to be trying to get these objectives and search for the buildings and try and get these objectives off the board, off the city scape if they can. It's a direct deployment mission, so anything that's not in a dropship may directly deploy. So that's a couple of units of Warlord Craig's, actually. None of mine are all in dropships, including his hated and feared storm wagons. We're not playing hardened buildings today. We often do that, but we're not doing that today. And it's corner deployment for this scenario, so we're off the corner there. As you see, nothing there, and Warlord Craig is getting out. Look at that. Horrific force accruing there. We reach the end of turn 1. A lot of manoeuvring. I've got to say, Warlord Craig's manoeuvring. He always does manoeuvre very aggressively, so it always looks great. But obviously, I've not really played Scourge before, so this is a lot of manoeuvring for me. I'm actually quite frightened by this, I've got to say. So let's take us through what we've been doing. So Warlord Craig, obviously he's got his storm trucks there. One of the first things they did was open fire to soften up this building over here, because he knows I've got to go for it, and indeed I did. That did 8 points of damage to that. There was no infantry in at the time, so no damage to the infantry, but that's a substantial chunk taken out in one shot. So Craig there, proving that he knows how to use this stuff. His battle bus, which he deployed at the beginning, drove up to this building and put units into there to start searching for the objective next turn. We've got a lift hawk there, which I think has got Jacksons in, so my guess is they'll be going for that there objective as well. Oh my goodness. He has bought his Zukov anti-air tanks there. Look at them, aren't they beautiful? They are. And he's put them down in a central position to dominate this area. So he's thinking the long game here, I'm guessing. I'm hoping. He's not letting me know if I've got it right, because he's being a blooming general and stuff. So that they will dominate that area later if I try and put air units, dropships, etc. They'll pretty much shoot down anything that comes over there. He's put his gun trucks, which again are highly effective anti-air unit, around that corner there, and they can just project in the next turn, go and find things, which is quite frightening. They can get out of their transport and shoot immediately. And there's a lift hawk there, which, ooh, what would that lift hawk have? Oh, that dropped his Alexander.
The brown lift hawk has dropped the Mechmeds.
Dropped it. Oh, Mechmeds, excellent.
And the grey lift hawk has an Alexander underneath, which you can't represent. I magnetise them.
Yes, that's right. So essentially we've got a heavy armoured force around that corner. What I've done is I've put a unit of normal infantry into that building there and hope to get the objective out before it's bombed to hell. The Marauder with the other set of with the other armoured personnel carriers in that Marauder, it's going to go over to that building, see if there's anything in there. The Commander is hiding essentially because of all the anti-air power on that side of the board. That might have been a mistake. We'll see about that later. And the Reavers, which again I'm not very used to, have gone over with him. And then really I've just pushed up the left here. I've tried to put tanks, my heavy Slayers are in there, and I've put out kind of a ring of Hunters and Reavers over here to try and make a little bit of a circle for myself when I try and put the infantry into that building there. So that's the end of turn one. We didn't use any cards, if I remember correctly.
No cards.
No cards. Warlord Craig won the dice roll for turn one and forced me to go first, I think. Oh, no, he went first. That's right. He went first to get the barrage off. So we're on to turn two. See you at the end of that. Oh, you've just missed the crazed cackling from Warlord Craig there, as as turn one comes to an end. We're nearly in turn two now, so it all got very bloody. So I moved. We took all our command cards in. We played a couple of command cards as well, didn't we?
Yes, you played Jink and Weave.
Jink and Weave, which didn't save the Reaver that I put up there. Yeah. So what I did is I put my command unit, which is all flyers essentially, up this flank here, right into the teeth of Warlord Craig's anti-air. So he replied with his gun trucks, which moved around this corner, deployed, and promptly took out one of the Reavers. Hey ho, that's good moves. That's kind of what they're designed to do. So fair enough. I moved infantry up into this building, so they get an opportunity to search this turn. The same infantry group searched this building here. Failed to find anything, didn't roll the 6 that it required. I put infantry into that building, that's the aged ones there, and then I moved their intruders. I moved one into the face. Look at that shot, and it's true, we checked it with a laser, it's absolutely fine, it's a real thing.
It was this
there you go, to use the snazzy laser, so it was centre to centre, and you can see, and he shot at it with a Zukov, and usually that is death, isn't it?
Yeah, he did fail.
That is death, and sadly he didn't roll to wound, so I was very lucky there.
It just glanced off your armour.
Glanced off my armour as I jinked and weaved. I didn't jink and weave at all, didn't play a card, I was just bloody lucky is what happened.
It glanced off your armour.
Yeah, absolutely. So I advanced my Vanguard up to here, because Craig he's with his mind on the target at the end of the game. Warlord Craig is moving his heavy command tank up there. So what I've done is and had a lift hawk there as well. So I've moved my Vanguard, my armour, up there to start to attack it. So there we go. So I've started to attack. I've not actually wounded it though, have I? Or did I do a wound?
You've done our wound.
I've done our wound to the Alexander, so that's okay. So that's something, I guess. It's not great, but it's something. And the Reapers there did what they do best, rolled lots of 2s or more, because that's all they need, and took out a Lift Hawk. The Lift Hawk, to be honest, not really useful at this stage in the game for Warlord Craig, as everything's in the middle, but it's something for the AA to shoot at. I advanced in a Marauder, the Slayers, all the way around here, because the Zukos by now had shot. So I thought, great, now I can land stuff there. Deployed the Slayers, and the Slayers deployed their Razor Worms into that building there. There's going to be a CQB. I think it's going to be closer than we think, but I might win that one. We don't know. But you still have the opportunity, I think, to search for the objective, don't you?
can
Because you're the host.
during the fight.
You're the host, aren't you?
Yeah, you can search.
You're hosting. You've made me tea and cake, which is nice, which the razor worms are going to eat as well, because they're very, very hungry little beasties, they are. So my Corsairs came on, my air wing, did nothing. I think they just missed.
They rolled at the gun trucks and just horribly missed.
That's it. Then I played assisted targeting, going, haha, aren't I clever? To make them roll again.
And then I knowed it.
And Warlord Craig knowed it with an espionage card.
No.
So anything else that you've done, essentially... Oh, he's bombing the hell out of that middle building there to take cover away from me as I advance up his rear, as it were.
Well...
I do apologise. And with the mech meds, but really the mech meds again are moving so they get that focal point at the end of the game. At the moment, essentially, he's got a lot of heavy tanks there that's going to be very hard for me to move. So that's a very, very good foresight I would put forward there by Warlord Craig. So that's turn 2. On to turn 3. Oh, yes, turn 3. So in the clean-up phase this turn, I'm playing an underground monorail between there and there to kind of help me escape if and when I find... Yeah, put the card down. If you turn that over for us.
Well, no, I think that's you play that at the start of
the next so that will be played at the start of the next turn.
The clean-up phase of the initiation phase.
Excellent. So we'll be doing that next turn. Great. Okay, on to turn 3, I think it is now, isn't it?
Indeed, turn 3.
Turn 3. Oh, look at that big dice. So, end of turn 3, and a bloody turn it has been. So where do we start? So we'll start by, I think, talking about the big events that happened. So I had this kind of flying.
First things first. I think I tried to shoot your boss.
Yes, with the gun trucks, which didn't work. Luckily for me, then I activated my command unit to put them in the centre here. You see, there was a lot of Warlord Craig's tanks everywhere within 6. It was an opportunity too good to miss. So I played Jink and Weave and also Aggression to try and re-roll those hits. Sadly, that left us on a 5+ hit overall, and both of his Zukofs got their 1 in 3 chance and blew it out of the sky. So that was not encouraging as a start to the turn, and a little bit demoralising. But it's okay. It's okay. You've got to play on. The accompanying minders went over there and shot at a lift hawk and started to damage that. My vanguard unit here followed up and finished off that there lift hawk, and it was destroyed. And the hunters in that unit shot at the Alexander. How many points of damage has the Alexander taken as well so far?
It's taken 4 out of its possible 5.
5. So it's languishing on 1 hit point. So that's quite a big thing, because it's really dominating the focal point for the end of the game as well. But Warlord Craig has plenty of armour left. So that's that battle there. I'm creeping around the back here with the Zukofs having fired. I was able to put my Marauder with the Slayers around his back and deploy. I did that last turn, didn't I? So deploy the Razor Worms. So the Slayers are actually able to open fire on the Zukofs.
Killing one of
those, which is good. And the Razor Worms in the building. It was closer than we thought. I've got 2 of those left, haven't I?
Yeah, out of 6.
And it killed
12 out of 15 guys.
12 out of 15 guys, and the other 2 have run away. So that was a pretty close CQB. So Razor Worms are very good, worth their points, but not overpowered, not OP. It could be taken out, because you had a lucky card there, it gave you a dodge.
I had a dodge card. If I'd have played the Berserker's card, it would have been something entirely different.
Absolutely.
That in 1 round.
Totally. So I played a monorail card there, which I was going to do at the end of last turn, but actually we had to wait till this turn, which is fine. My infantry, my aged ones there, found the objective. Used the monorail to safely move there, because with Zukofs and gun trucks there, obviously it was quite dangerous for them to move. So they moved from that building to that building, and their intruders moved last turn. They were narrowly missed last turn, weren't they, by the Zukofs, if I remember correctly. So Craig's drill appeared in the centre of the city, disgorged free riders who immediately went into this building. Look at that. So they're now, because I think a lot of my that building, missed the building, never mind. Because my warriors in there are hardly any of them left, because they've been barraged all game. So it shows the good use of barrage there by Warlord Craig. So they're kind of dead set really to find that their objective. So that's quite bad for me. Who's that in there? Those are my warriors. They failed to find anything this turn, didn't they? on their 5+s that they required. So hey ho, look again next turn if we're lucky. What else happened in the centre here?
Blew up a lift hawk with
those.
But they survived.
That's right. The Jacksons all survived, so they have moved. I think that's about it, isn't it? The Corsairs. My air came in, actually did something which is good, and did damage the Alexander, which is only on 1 hit point after everything. So there we go. That's the end of turn 3. Come back to you at the end of turn 4. Turn 4. Oh, it's getting bloody, isn't it, Warlord Craig? It's
very
my
bloody.
Goodness. I think Warlord Craig has had the foresight this game to look at the end game and win that from the outset. So we'll see how that goes. So after the sad loss of my HQ unit last turn, I replied by throwing my Slayer heavy tanks at it, hitting 4 times, not rolling to 4 ones in a row. So hey ho.
Yeah, there was some dice throwing.
There was some dice, and they happened. So instead, the Reaver, which I thought was it's not really performed this game, didn't move, so it couldn't get reaction fired, and wiped out the Alexander. So hey ho, there we go. So that went.
They
So
had 1 hit point though. So
absolutely. So both of our command units are now deaded. Hey ho. So I guess that's kind of equal now, isn't it? So our command ratings are the same now, aren't they?
Yeah.
So then what Warlord Craig's done is essentially got all of his heavy tanks and stuff and just put them in the middle of the board like you're meant to for a focal point mission. Yeah. There you go. I was able to wipe out a Zukov. That was last turn. So I've not done anything to heavy tanks, have I?
You've sod all to them.
Beggar all to them. That's all right. That's all right. It's not a family show. It's okay. It's fine. Okay, so, very good. So, he's put infantry there. He's worked out he gets points for having more units than me. So I, in the last turn, found that objective. I've moved it to there. I've moved from there. One of the dropships has gone off with the objective,
so, yeah,
and the other one is loitering outside here, hoping to invade that building next turn.
Currently sitting at 3 points.
3 points, that's right. And that one, the Razor One's just still sitting on. Warlord Craig wiped out the hunters. There they are. Look, the poor hunters there, all deaded.
And wiped out the troops.
And wiped out the troops in there with barrage. Oh no, with close combat. I think with close combat from the free riders there, winning a close combat for once and doing what they need to do, which is excellent. So there we go. Essentially, I think we wouldn't call it. We're going to go to the end, but I think Craig's in a very strong position. So there we go. The Minders did a few pot shots at a lift hawk over there. And other than that, I think we're on for turn 5 next. Is that right?
Yeah, we're turn 5.
Turn 5 next. So that's the end of turn 5. My goodness, it's a bit of a rugby scrum now. To be honest, the game has turned to a rugby scrum. But that's kind of we're playing tag and rugby scrum, and that's kind of Dropzone Commander, isn't it? It's not about what you kill. Although it has been a very bloody game, and I think we've enjoyed it, killing each other, haven't we, Warlord Craig?
Actually.
Yes.
I've enjoyed this. It's been bloody.
Bloody
and
as heck.
I've lost not that much.
No. Look at my dead pile. It's quite big. Look, most of my tanks are gone. Yeah, all but 2 of my Reavers are gone. Both my heavy tanks have been killed. So we'll see what happened here. So you'll notice that building's gone. So my Reavers anti-air killed the last of the free riders in there. Yeah. By doing multiple hits to the building. Really, maybe I shouldn't have done that and put my infantry in there, and so you couldn't shoot at the building. But it doesn't matter. That's what happened. So I stopped him getting that objective. So in reply, after I put some infantry in there, Warlord Craig says, "Well, you're not having it either." And he fired his storm trucks at the building, destroying it because it had 32 points at the beginning of the turn, and he did 8 to it by doubling up on the damage on his barrage of 9 or something that he's got. Barrage 12, there we go, and destroyed the building outright. So that is no one's objective now. That objective just stays there. We don't know what we see. Warlord Craig can get that next turn. And we have this rugby scrum in the middle here. So I, with the Reaver, managed to do some damage to one of his Mechmeds. My Slayers also damaged some Mechmeds, leaving the Mechmeds on 1 point of damage on one of the 2 tanks. Then I think my Corsairs came in, didn't they? They flew across the board and took out the last hit point on the Mechmed. And then really all we've done other than that is we've just piled stuff into the middle as much as we can. So that's it. That's how we've attempted to do that turn. Is there much more to say in that turn, Warlord Craig?
No.
There's not much. We're just
it's now
getting everything.
It's now see who can
yes,
push people off the target.
Off the target. So we're I've got one objective there. It's not off the board yet, but I'm going to try and get off the board. And we've got an intruder there that was in cover and it isn't now because the building's been taken out. And lots of infantry. So there we go. Yes, on to turn 6. Right, it's turn 6, and the game comes to an end. The ravaged carnage of the battlefield. A very close game. We just have essentially a rugby scrum in the middle of the city here. Warlord Craig's forces obviously dominant over the focal point. If this was just a focal point mission, he'd have won it by far. We've decided that free riders very difficult to dislodge. Would you say?
Yes.
Very, very frightening units to dislodge. Really, what happened? I think we just tried to win it with infantry in the end, didn't we?
Yeah.
We just disgorged infantry on the focal point.
Tried to kill each other's infantry.
With machine gun fire. So those assault rifles and plasma guns are actually very useful in the end.
Homemade RPGs.
Homemade, yes, indeed. So very frightening, and essentially Warlord Craig won that fight. So he is up 3 points. I did have some stuff close. Look, there's a lone Reaper tank there, and an intruder. An invader APC there, and a couple of units of infantry. So I got my point, but he got 2. So he wasn't quite able to destroy everything, and that would have evened up the game as well. I think it's very close indeed. And there were 4 stands of stuff there remaining for me. I don't even know if the APCs can take objectives. I'm not sure. I'll check that out.
No, the ground units.
The ground units, so they do count. Yeah. Okay. Fine. So there we go. So that's the objectives. Warlord Craig did put infantry into this building at the end. He needed a 6, and sadly, it would have been heroic if he'd been able to roll it, but sadly he wasn't able to find that objective. I got this objective off the board last turn, got the other objective from over here, passed it off to another APC, and got that off the board this turn, giving me 4 victory points, I think. And I think you end up with 3. But a closer game couldn't be had. No. Warlord Craig's use of the objectives was masterful, putting people in there at the beginning. My Razor Warriors were able to invade his area and see him off the objective. Now, interestingly, that's exactly what he did to me here. So we essentially, both of our home objectives, really, we didn't reinforce well enough. No, and that was it. So all the safe stuff in our area, we didn't exploit properly.
Both far objectives.
We both went hell for leather for these far objectives, got them, but forgot to really reinforce our own objectives. So take what you will from that. The Corsairs, underperforming for most of the game, got hit points here and there. We're actually able to finish off a Zukov. Oh no, it was a gun truck this turn, wasn't it? Finished off a gun truck. One of my Marauder dropships was able to take off another one, so there's 2 gun trucks killed. The Zukovs are dead, but essentially most of Warlord Craig's AA lasted until the 4th or 5th turn of the game.
Yes, so, yeah. There's still one lone gun truck. And
there.
Kraken still about.
And Kraken, indeed. But what I wasn't...
It's unusual for the gun trucks.
It is. They usually die horrifically. So Warlord Craig was able to keep his anti-air and a lot of his army alive until the last few turns, when I was able to finally get the upper hand in the ground war. Although, did I? I mean, look at this. Look at this dead pile. So we have all of my heavy tanks gone. Both of my Slayers. 2 out of 3 Reapers and 3 out of 3 Hunters, all dead.
Boss, where you threw him,
and my boss, yes, he flew through the air in frustration and anger. It wasn't, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not an angry person at all. Not angry at all. No. He was just going for flying lessons. That's what happened to him. Threw my toys out of the cot. That was awful, really. So not very mature of me at all. So as I say, we've just got a Marauder dropship round the back of the line. So, in wrap up to the game, I was able to get behind Warlord Craig's lines and take him from behind. which was useful.
And I took you from the front.
And he indeed just came right up into my face, into the middle of the board. And I think what Craig decided to do early on in this game was to just dominate the centre of the field.
Yeah.
With superior armour, and it worked.
We've had previous conversations that haven't been on film that usually involve me not moving my tanks fast enough.
Yes.
So I thought, this game, let's get
I'm going for it.
And go for it.
That's it.
It worked.
It worked. It worked a lot better, and you won that part of the board.
Yes.
No doubt about it.
I did, yeah.
So excellent. So that was an enjoyable game. They're getting more enjoyable, I think, as we learn more about the game, aren't they?
Yeah.
As the games get closer and closer, I think we're enjoying it more and more. And as I say, the objectives, they're only ever up to dice rolls, aren't they?
Yeah. The more I learn about my units, the more... past games I've forgotten what units do. Or
yes.
Not forgotten, but not
exploited them. Yes.
Strengths.
That's right. And that's what it's about, ladies and gentlemen. When you're against the Scourge, it's all about exploitation. Remember that. I think the Resistance have got enough people left to go and report to the Warlord Craig. But I think today he's going to kill a couple of them, isn't he? In anger.
What do you mean?
A couple of your Resistance fighters are going to have to die. Yes, I think they are.
I'm not that kind of Warlord.
Is he not? Oh!
No, I'm not. I'm not. Maybe feral, but we're not.
He's making out a nice guy. He is. Okay, thank you very much for joining us. So, finally, when you're out there in the cold of night, taking over a city for the faction you represent, keep dropping and keep commanding and keep shooting at them. Take care, bye.